I have been searching for a new daily driver earbud for quite a while now. For background, my ears are on the smaller side and I have trouble keeping earbuds from falling out. Now, I reluctantly use the AirPods Pros, but it's a constant battle of readjustment just to make them work. I've used the Beats Fit Pros, which I really liked, until mine wound up breaking, and since Beats hasn't updated these in nearly 4 years at this point, I didn't want to go out and buy another pair of them. I gave the Sony LinkBuds Fit a go, which have great sound, but just aren't good enough for me in the noise cancellation department. And so finally, I wound up here with Bose. Now at first, Bose wasn't even on my radar because I thought they didn't offer a wingtip design to help keep them in my ear, but I was actually wrong. They just do it in a different way. So today I'm reviewing the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds. These are kind of frustratingly named since just about everything Bose makes these days are called QuietComfort, and these aren't the first earbuds to bear the QuietComfort name either. However, this model was released recently in 2024. It's called new in their original press release, second gen in some other places. Here's the model number in case you're ever confused about what I'm talking about specifically today during this review. Also, if this happens to be your first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Cameron and I make detailed tech videos that I try to present in plain language that you can actually understand. In this video, we're going to cover the solid fit options of these Bose headphones, the impressive audio quality, and the true world-class noise cancellation, all for a price that is lower than most of the premium competitors out there. Now, Bose did send these earbuds over to me for review, but had no say in how I covered it. You can find affiliate links in the video description if you're interested in picking up a pair for yourself. And now with all of that out of the way, let's jump into the details. Starting with build and design, these Bose earbuds have a simple oval shape that's positioned right in the center of your ear without any sort of stem. They do stick out from your ear a little bit, which some people may not like, but in my ears, I don't think they protrude too excessively. Overall, the in-ear look is actually pretty clean and looks nice as far as I'm concerned. This is the white smoke color, but they also come in black, chilled lilac, petal pink, and twilight blue. They all feature a nice matte finish with simple Bose branding on the outside. For durability, the QuietComfort earbuds have an IPX4 rating. This means that they're sweat-proof and definitely good for the gym. They also won't have any issue if you get caught in a quick rainstorm. However, they are not fully waterproof. You shouldn't intentionally get them wet, and they definitely cannot be submerged underwater. For fit, they use rubber ear tips, which come with a small, medium, and large size in the box. The ear tips have an oval shape, which is similar to what you find on Apple's AirPods Pros, but different from what you see on other brands like Beats and Sony. But that's not all that's different. The most interesting thing with these ear tips is actually their depth. They're much shallower than other brands, meaning that they won't go quite as deep into your ear canal. My only concern with this fact is that there's nothing protecting this mesh portion underneath the ear tip. Now, I really hate talking about earwax in my video reviews, but it's kind of inevitable with earbuds, and you're going to at least get some earwax that's going to build up in your ear tips over time. With how close this mesh is to the end of the rubber tip, you're likely to get some on that as well. Unfortunately, mesh like that is tough to clean, and it could impact audio quality over time if it gets gunked up. So that's definitely not ideal. In addition to those ear tips, this model also includes what's called stability bands, which helps to grab onto your ear to help keep them in place. This is where Bose does fit a little differently. The stability bands also come in 3 sizes, allowing you to select the right one for your ears. So rather than committing to a standard wingtip design or going with no added support at all, they let you customize your fit and give you the control over how much extra support you actually need. This level of customization is awesome for me as someone who struggles with earbuds falling out all the time. Now, my personal fit for these was using the smallest ear tips and then the largest stability bands. That's just what worked for me. The end result is a really solid and stable fit. These slide right into place and stay there as good as any other wingtip earbuds that I've ever used. In terms of comfort, the ear tip feels great, no complaints there. The stability band portion will take a bit of getting used to for most people though. But if you've ever used a wingtip earbud before, you'll probably know this is nothing new. Anytime you've got part of an earbud pressing up into your ear for grip, it causes a weird sensation at first. This was particularly noticeable for me with the Beats Fit Pros, which have a really stiff arm. For the Bose, the stability bands are much softer and don't apply nearly as much pressure, but it will still cause some discomfort at first for most people, especially if you wear them for hours on end. My recommendation is give it some time and your body will adjust to this new feeling, but it might take a couple of weeks or even months, depending on how often you use them, before you'll be able to wear them just without noticing the stability bands at all. For many people, this is tough to swallow since it means wearing them with potential for discomfort beyond when most return windows are closed. Now that is totally a legitimate, fair concern. But from my experience, I've run into this with the Beats, the Sonys, and now with the Bose. In each case, they cause some type of discomfort at first because they all just sit a little bit differently in your ear. With time though, I've gotten used to all of them, and eventually they can be worn with no discomfort at all, even for very long periods of time. I can't guarantee that you're gonna feel exactly the same as me, but I encourage you to stick with it if it hurts or feels weird, just a little bit longer than you may initially want to, and anticipate that any pain or weird feelings you experience will go away with time. Now let's talk about the case, which is just a bit larger than I'd like. It's not a complete deal breaker, but it's not the most pocketable size, especially with the height of the case. If we compare the dimensions to the AirPods Pro case, the Bose is just a little bit larger on the length and width basis, but it stands about twice as tall. This extra height is understandable because the earbuds themselves have a good bit of mass to them, and overall, I wouldn't say that there's a ton of wasted space in the design of the case, maybe just a little bit in the middle, but overall, it's really not that bad. In terms of materials for the case, the outside is a textured plastic material with a smooth Bose logo on top. The case feels very light for its size, but it doesn't really feel cheap. The hinge in particular feels very high quality. Inside the case, it's very straightforward to store and remove the earbuds. The internal plastic is glossy and smooth, which looks a bit cheaper, but should be easier to clean than that rough exterior plastic, which is good because this is the area where you'll get the most grime built up, especially earwax, transferred from the earbuds and then ultimately built up over time. So that's the only part that kind of looks a little cheap, but I think it's for a good reason. Functionally, the case has a USB-C port on the back for charging and supports wireless charging as well. Strangely, there's no way to see an exact battery percentage on the case, even using the mobile app. Instead, it uses colors when the earbuds are not in the case to show an approximate charge, but it's impossible to know with any more precision than that, which is a little bit annoying since there is a big difference between a case that is at 30% and one that's at 80%. But in either case, it's just amber. Another interesting difference with this case is that it doesn't assist with pairing. On every other type of earbuds that I've ever tested, there is a button somewhere on the case to enter pairing mode, and it usually also has some sort of reset functionality if you press and hold it for even longer. On the Bose, there's no button on the case at all. Instead, pairing is done from the earbuds themselves by long pressing on the side, much more similar to the experience of over-ear headphones than the typical earbuds. Despite the lack of a button, the case does technically trigger pairing when you open it, so it's not completely uninvolved in the process. As soon as you open the case, the earbuds attempt to pair with their most recent device, meaning that you should be paired and ready to go by the time you actually get them in your ears. Likewise, when you close the case with the earbuds inside, it'll automatically disconnect Bluetooth as well. Overall, though the case is a bit large, it's nice. In the event you lose or break it, there are replacements available for purchase at $80, which is not something that every brand offers. They also have a silicone cover with a carabiner available for $25 if you want to protect the case and provide some more storage options. Now let's talk about audio quality. Put simply, these sound incredible. The sound is so full and complete. There's a really good balance of sound, really bumpy bass without being overpowering, excellent clear vocals on both music and with podcasts or audiobooks, just all around very impressive. I had a pair of Bose over-ear headphones back in the day and always thought they sounded great. I don't honestly know why I had doubts that they'd be able to pull it off in something like this, but man, they have done it. Now, for comparison, I find the sound to be better than the AirPods Pros and better than the Beats Fit Pros. They're pretty much on par with the Sony Link Buds Fit. Both, I think, sound incredible, but there's a big asterisk on that because the Sonys pale in comparison to Bose on active noise cancellation. Now see, I am a big user of ANC. Even just walking around the house, doing dishes, something like that, I like to use ANC because it blocks out any distractions and really lets me just focus on the music or oftentimes for me on an audiobook. Now, audio quality alone is great, but without strong ANC to back it up, you may not get to appreciate that high quality unless you're in the ideal surroundings that's nice and quiet and lets you hear everything. With the Bose, the ANC is so good that it can bring that incredible, complete, beautiful audio quality with you pretty much wherever you go in just about any circumstance. I honestly didn't think that I would see the day when I tried earbuds that could compete with Apple's ANC. They've just been so far ahead of the competition for so long, but these are really something special. They might actually be better than Apple's ANC. It's a little bit tough to tell, but they're very close, if not better. The only thing that I haven't been able to try yet is air travel. Unfortunately, I haven't flown since getting them, and I don't have a flight planned in the near future, so I can't comment on that specific scenario, but I imagine that these would be able to handle it very well. In addition to the quiet ANC mode, as Bose calls it, there's also an aware mode, which is their version of transparency mode, which is also pretty solid. Now, I would still give Apple the edge when it comes to transparency, but it's much closer here than with any other earbuds I've used. Most of the time, non-Apple transparency modes are so bad that I just can't touch them at all. This one I would actually consider using. You can hold a conversation just fine, and hearing your own voice through the headphones sounds slightly weird, but it's not too bad. The last thing to cover about audio quality is EQ adjustments. Now, Bose does offer an EQ in their app, which gives 5 bands of adjustment in this slightly weird looking design. Disclaimer for this section in particular, I'm not personally an audiophile, but I know what I like and I listen to a lot of music and audiobooks. Personally, the standard flat setting that Bose provides is really solid to my ear. If anything, I found that the bass is actually slightly higher than I want relative to the highs, so in their custom EQ, this was the sound that was best for me. Now, usually on other EQs, I tend to go towards a V shape like this one, where the lows and highs both get a boost. In this case, I toned down the bass from my norm to fit my ear for these particular earbuds. For the vast majority of people out there though, you probably won't even need to mess with this. If you just stick with the standard, it is a really, really good, simple, out-of-the-box sound that'll make most people happy. Now let's talk about usability, where all of the little quirks tend to come out with a product like this. There's a few here, but it's nothing too crazy. Now first I mentioned that pairing will begin automatically when you open the case. That's great, but the annoying thing is that once you put the earbuds in, it detects that it's in your ear, and it announces both the connection status and the state of charge. This is, once again, much more like a pair of over-ear headphones will typically do than earbuds will do. And it gets annoying because it actually delays how quickly you can begin using the earbuds by a second or two. For example, if you've got audio playing from your phone speakers, then you put your earbuds in, there will be a moment where the audio stops coming from your phone, but you still can't hear it in the earbuds because it's busy telling you that your earbuds are connected and have a full charge.
Battery 100% connected.
This is something I really wish that you could change or disable in the app, but it doesn't seem like right now you actually can. Separately, this in-ear detection also works to pause your music when you remove an earbud and play again when you put them back in. This works exactly as intended, with one exception. Now the sensors on the earbuds are right here, and they're pretty sensitive. So if you take one earbud out, maybe to answer a colleague's question at the office, you may put one or both of them down on the table. I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to put them down like this. It just feels logical. But if you do that, the sensor triggers and your audio will keep playing. Now that is just slightly annoying. The next potential usability annoyance comes from the touch controls. The whole flat surface on the outside of the earbud is a touch-sensitive button, and they are very sensitive. They work great when you want them to, but they also have a tendency to work great when you don't want them to. The most common issue comes from adjusting the fit in your ear, which can easily trigger an action. You'll want to make sure you grab the outside of the buds to avoid any problems. Thankfully, laying down on a pillow with the earbuds won't typically cause them to react, but something like falling asleep on your shoulder actually can, which is weird. But let me explain fully. Now in testing, mine were triggered if I touched them with a normal t-shirt in between the earbud and my skin. So my shoulder could pause the music if I dozed off on a plane, for example. However, thicker materials don't typically cause an issue. Even just folding a t-shirt material over a couple times can prevent it. So a jacket or a sweater probably makes this whole thing a moot point. Wearing a beanie over your earbuds also doesn't cause an issue, so I assume that long hair won't either. I imagine for most people this won't be a major issue, but the last thing you want to have is some overzealous touch controls getting in the way of just using your earbuds happily on a daily basis. Now when the touch controls are behaving how you want, you only need a light tap to play or pause your audio. When you tap, you get a small audio feedback in the ear, making it clear that it worked. You can also double tap to advance your track and triple tap to go back a track. A press and hold will swap between A and C modes, cycling from quiet to aware and to off, each of which are audibly identified, which is really helpful. Finally, a continued long press, as I mentioned, will enter that Bluetooth pairing mode in order to establish a new connection. Now you may have noticed from that overview that there is not a way to adjust volume by default. However, using the Bose app, you can customize the touch controls, including adding volume adjustment, and you can even change the controls on the left and the right earbuds independently, giving you a large amount of customization opportunity. You also have the option to set everything to off if you have issues with the sensitivity of the touch controls activating by mistake, and you just want to remove them altogether. In addition to the touch controls, there are also voice controls available. In order to use them, you must have the app installed and open in the background of your phone, which I'm sure some people won't really love, but it does work well. You simply say, "Hey headphones," pause for half a second, and then you can control your audio, including volume adjustment. You can change your ANC setting, and you even have access to your phone's smart assistant. Now finally, the least useful feature, in my opinion, is that you can take a photo, which they refer to as remote selfie. The issue is that there's currently no delay, so as soon as I finish saying, "Hey headphones, take a photo," it's taken even before I have a chance to smile. It kind of feels like something that no one actually really tested. Hopefully they will fix that and just add a small delay or let you customize a delay in the app with an update later on. In order to use those voice controls, you obviously have to leverage the onboard microphone. So let's see how that actually sounds. Now, in my testing, the microphone sounds pretty bad, actually. It's likely to be serviceable for occasional use, but it's certainly not good enough to be any sort of primary microphone for calls. It seems to do a lot of voice isolation processing, even in a fairly quiet room, sometimes making my voice get super quiet, almost completely gone, and for seemingly no good reason at all. Overall, I'd say it's pretty disappointing since a good microphone would be a huge selling point for these headphones, which can go a long way when someone's trying to pick a daily driver headphone. Sadly, I just think these are pretty far off from some of the competition, most notably the mics on Apple's AirPods Pros. Now, it's possible that a firmware update in the future could fix the audio processing issues, and so these might get better, but I wouldn't buy these if you specifically plan to rely on them heavily for important phone calls. Moving to battery life, these earbuds get an advertised 8.5 hours of use, which is very good. The charging case also has a 300 milliamp hour battery inside, which can provide an additional 2.5-ish charges, giving the whole package a total of 31.5 hours of use, which are very solid numbers. As mentioned, charging can utilize either the USB-C port on the back or wireless charging, and there's an included 12-inch USB-A to C cable in the box. For connectivity, the overall Bluetooth experience has been fine. Connections are made fast, and for the most part they've been stable, but there's also been some inconsistency. I've had some small blips in the connection during my testing, more so than I'm used to. I've also run into more drops from distance than I'm used to when leaving my phone in one place and walking about the house. Now, all of these issues have been quick and they always resolve themselves automatically. No need to repair them or anything like that. I haven't had so many problems that I believe it to be a serious flaw. It's probably just regular old Bluetooth interference, which can happen to any device like this, though it does seem slightly worse with these earbuds than with other Bluetooth headphones that I've tested to date. I'm going to continue using these, so I'll definitely update you with a short or in the comments down below if there's any sort of major change or something that I notice in the future that changes this part of the review. Continuing on with connectivity, these earbuds also support Bluetooth multipoint, meaning that you can pair to multiple devices at once, listen on one of them, then pause that first device, start something on device number 2, and have it automatically switch over. This is a really great feature, but in my testing, it was a little imperfect. I think that a big part of this is that I've just been spoiled with the Apple ecosystem, with AirPods and Beats headphones being able to jump really well between iPhones and MacBooks. The Bose just weren't able to match that high bar, so in the end, I turned the feature off since it kept just getting stuck or confused, and it was easier for me to just repair to my device on the occasions that I actually wanted to switch, rather than being frustrated with it getting stuck where I didn't want it to be. Finally, there is the app. This uses a specific Bose app made just for these headphones, not a shared one with any other Bose devices if you happen to already own some. The Bose QC Earbuds app, as it's known, has a lot of features that we've already discussed, including the ability to set your EQ, change your touch controls, enable or disable voice controls, and more. There's even not one, but 2 ways to get to the Bose website, which is really just unnecessary clutter in an otherwise nice app. Overall, the app is fine. Since these sound so great out of the box, it's hardly an essential download, but if you want to customize the sound or the controls, it certainly does the job, and it offers a little bit more on top of that as well for folks who just really want to go all in. One app request I have, if Bose is watching though, would be to let us set a touch control which cycles just through a subset of the ANC modes. Right now, there is quiet, aware, and off. I'm never going to use off personally, so I'd rather it not be there when I'm moving through them so that I can just toggle between quiet and aware, the 2 that I actually care about, but that's just my 2 cents. Speaking of 2 cents, let's move on to value and pricing. Now, when I sat down to write this review and really started to kind of tally everything up, I was kind of shocked at just how much value these earbuds provided for their price. The MSRP for the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds is $180. That's obviously not cheap, and there are tons of budget options out there, but there's not a budget option that I'm aware of that can compete with the feature set and performance of these earbuds. If you think there is, please drop it in the comments. Looking at other similar premium options, the Bose are $70 cheaper than the AirPods Pro 2, $50 cheaper than the Sony LinkBuds Fit, and $20 less than the Beats Fit Pro. And they come in at the same exact price as the AirPods 4 with ANC. Given those comparables, it is tough to beat the Bose from an all-around value perspective amongst the premium tier. Now, in addition to this model, Bose also has a much more expensive QuietComfort Ultra, which is almost twice the price at $300 and has a new second-gen version coming very soon. I find it hard to believe that they can deliver $120 more value on the Ultras compared to these because these are already so good. But if you think I should test that theory with a dedicated review, let me know. For now, let's close this out with the differentiators and deal breakers for these Bose earbuds. For the positives, the sound quality is excellent, plus the active noise cancellation is absolutely incredible. The customizable fit with the ear tips and stability bands works great, even for someone like me who can struggle to keep earbuds in their ears. The design is simple and clean with nice matte colors. The battery life is solid, and the pricing is reasonable compared to other premium earbuds. For potential deal breakers, the touch controls can be annoying if you adjust your fit regularly. The case is fairly large and not the best for keeping in your pocket throughout the day. The stability bands could potentially cause some discomfort in your ear and will likely require an adjustment period when you first get these. There are slight concerns around the reliability of the Bluetooth connection, though I'm hoping that this won't be any sort of a long-term challenge. And finally, the microphone is subpar, and I wouldn't trust these with regular work conference calls or anything like that. As you can probably tell, I like these headphones a lot. I was genuinely impressed by their sound and especially by their noise cancellation, and I struggled to find very many potential deal breakers. Plus, best of all, they stay in my ears, which is really the biggest thing that I'm looking for these days. I think for now, these have become my new daily drivers, with the AirPods sticking around for phone calls and if I need something smaller to be in my pocket for a day. Now, if you want to pick up a pair of these Bose QuietComfort earbuds, you'll see affiliate links that support the channel below. If there's another earbud that you're dying to see me review, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to get to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.